Okay, Coach Haynes today is joined by sophomore kicker and punter Anthony Melchiori, junior wide receiver Chris Humphrey. Coach?
Again, tough loss. Very good football team, though. But it was a great environment. It was a good environment for our team to get in, especially going into this week. We're going down to Penn State. But there's a lot of good things that happen, a lot of things that we can build off of, that we can continue to do well. And, of course, a lot of things that we got to get better at. But different look in the team, different look in our guys' eyes in the second half, even when we get down from week 2 to week 3. And that was the one thing that we talked about, is continue to fight for 60 minutes, and this football team did. So we will continue to, to go to work. We got a couple guys banged up that we need to try to get, healthy before this week. But we're looking forward for the challenge in Happy Valley.
You just talk about coming off a game like that and then coming right back into it, as far as 2 road trips like this, and how the team's taking it, how mentally how's it?
I think the team's taking it well. We knew for a long time you had to get prepared for this, and but it is what it is. It's things that you can't control. You can't control the schedule. So, but to go into those big venues and play and be able to play against, so-called the bigger schools, our guys look forward to it all the time. So it's going to be a great environment. It's going to be a great challenge, but it's going to be fun for us also, too.
How about you guys just talk about a back-to-back like that and how you guys handle that? Something you
It's exciting. Always going to go play a bigger team that they so-call. But, it helps us get recognition also for our team and ourselves, and just helps us get more mentally prepared and, play different teams other than the ones in your conferences. So it gets us, just gets us noticed more, and then helps us with playing, they call them bigger schools like the Big Ten. So it gets us different competition, just, different defenses and stuff like that to help us for the offense. So, and playing in a bigger crowd like that also helps your mental preparation. You know it's going to be loud and stuff like that, but it definitely makes you concentrate and focus more.
Yeah, pretty much what Chris said. It's just an exciting environment. It's fun to go play in those type of games. And I think they just help overall for the team, all 3 phases, offense, defense, special teams, to play competition like that. It just really helps overall. And then you see, these bigger teams, like LSU, like we just played, and Penn State, if, the stars align, it can happen. We can beat those kind of teams. I mean, you saw Akron and Michigan on Saturday, and, Akron gave Michigan a pretty good game. So we need to take games like that and bring that into our own mentality and go into this game this week, thinking and having the mindset that we can go out there and beat these teams from the Big Ten and those other conferences like that. So I think it's just it's fun to play in those big games, and it's good to get us in the right mindset going into MAC play here in a couple weeks.
Does it give you any confidence seeing Penn State come off a loss to a smaller school?
I mean, yeah, it gives us confidence, but it's not gonna alter the way we prepare. We're not going to prepare, differently just because, a so-called smaller school beat Penn State. We're still going to go in with the same preparation, the same mentality, and just try and go in there with confidence and, play the way Kent State football plays, which is tough for 60 minutes.
Just real quick on that Akron-Michigan game. I don't know if you guys got to see it, but just curious, do you find yourselves rooting for Akron in a situation like that? Or you just watch a game, it doesn't matter? I'm just curious.
No, it was definitely a good game, but I'll never be rooting for Akron until the day I die. But I definitely give them some credit for playing a bigger school like that, like the Big Ten. But it fell short, and I was happy about it.
Pretty much the same feeling for me. You got to give credit where credit is due. They fought hard. I kind of caught the end of it on. I was streaming it online, but at the end of the day, they're still our rival. So, but you do have to give them credit. They put up a hard fight in the game, but good job for them, I guess. But we still want to go out there and beat them. So I don't really think I was rooting for them, but you like to see a MAC team compete with those big guys.
Coach, can you talk about some of the impact that some of the younger players have had? I know Italiano had 8 tackles. Reardon hasn't thrown an interception yet. What impact do they have on the development of this team?
I think they have a huge impact. Colin is playing very good football for us, for a redshirt freshman in that position, especially in some of the we've played some tough teams. It's not like you look at their record and they're 7-2. So it's a lot of good competition, and he'll continue to get better every rep he takes and every game he plays in. So that's huge for him. Jordan, the thing that people didn't know about Jordan played 3 different spots in this last game. He played, which he didn't normally do. He played base and safety. He played nickel, the star and nickel, and then we moved him to our Leo position and dime. So and he did them well. So, but there's a lot of other guys. Elsie Refuge played for us. He's a true freshman, doing a lot for us on special teams. The Holly twins are playing a lot for us on special teams and made a couple tackles for us. So there's a lot of young guys that are getting experience for us that will. It's only going to help us down the road. And we may sit there and play a couple more. Eric Church is a kid that's coming along for us in practice that we may try to kick in there a little bit on the defensive side. So their development is huge, for us, especially, when you go into a season when you don't have a lot of depth. Those guys kind of help you a lot, even on special units and in filling in roles for some other guys that get banged up.
Elsie was actually in coverage on one of those, I think their first touchdown
Yeah.
pass. And playing that early, that kind of says something right there.
And that's when we went to our dime package. We moved Jordan over really to our Leo, Viper position, and then Elsie came in as our star. So and he was in position. The guy just made a good play. And then the first third down, 3rd and 5, they kind of slant on him and everything. But he's a good football player. He was excited to go back home and play in front of his home crowd. And he'll continue to get better, but I love his instincts. I love him as a football player. It's hard on the freshmen. It's hard on those guys, and even when you look at Colin, he's a redshirt freshman, but really the true freshmen, their class schedule is so stacked, right now, and it's tough for them to get in and watch film and do a lot of things to prepare to be great, but those guys are doing a great job for us. So I commend those true freshmen that are out there and playing for us.
You talked about what you've gone against so far, 7-2. At the same time, you've talked about some being pleased with your offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
What are you seeing there that's not showing up statistically that helps you to say, hey, we're in the right direction?
I think when you sit there and you play tough teams and you play good defensive teams, which we have. We played 3 good defensive teams, and you were able to move the football. You're not giving up a bunch of sacks, and you're running the ball. So those are the things that I sit there and I look at that I see that if we continue to improve when we need to be really, really good here in a couple of weeks, I think if we continue to make that progress, that it can. And also, too, a guy like, when you don't play one of your starters, Pat McShane, and you got Reno that is moving kind of around in different spots, it kind of helps you a little bit and helps you think about your confidence that you can continue to get better. Once Pat gets back, we'll sit there and solidify, I think, a group of 5 or 6 that we can, kind of settle on and then just move forward. But I think those guys are coming together as a group, and you sit there and you see the communication happening, you see them, all the movement, because, teams that move a lot, that's where you get a lot of difficulty. But because it comes down to communication and talking, and it's not just one guy. it's becoming more and more guys.
How close is Pat, or are you going to hold him again?
You know what? We'll see how he is this week. Again, it's one of those judgment calls. Do you sit there and if he's continued to get better and feel better, I think you kind of got to make a call. Do you want him to get back to as close as 100% going into MAC conference play, or do you sit there and try to get 20 plays out of him to not getting rusty, I guess? So that'll kind of be a judgment call as we go through the week.
Was it a Wayne, the freshman? Is he still in that rotation?
Yeah, Wayne played, I think, about 12 to 15, snaps for us.
Is that where you want him to be?
That's probably about where he needs to be. If he's playing any more, he's probably not ready for that right now. But if we can get anywhere from 15 to 20 snaps a game from him, it's going to help him and it's going to help us.
Any other freshmen in that mix on the line?
Not on the offensive line. No, he's the only one.
Last one from me, you mentioned Rosie and his back. What happened there?
It's been sore for really since first week of the season. It's just one of those nagging injuries that his back is just, it just tightens up on him. So we, he goes in, he battles like crazy, and, it's just something that we got to treat and continue to treat.
Is it muscles or is it?
Yeah, it's muscle.
You mentioned Colin. I know he's up to, I believe, 85 passes now without a pick. I mean, let's talk about, I know you wanted, exactly, you wanted the manager, though, and he's really kind of done, probably even more than you would have expected as far as the first 3 starts.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Coach Rock and the offensive staff has done a good job of getting the game plan kind of that he can handle and don't, make it something that he's, and we will continue to do that. Plus, I think the receivers are playing better. They're catching the ball. You don't have a lot of drops. And it's getting him confidence because you see he's spreading the ball around, not just sitting there. A lot of times a young guy will just sit there and find one guy that he's sitting there and he's throwing to, and I think he's sitting there and he's spreading around because he has confidence in the receiving core. But I think the main part of it is we found out what he does well, early, and we're putting him in that position and keep him in that position of not trying to sit there and do something that he can't do. I know Coach Rock spends a lot of time with him. I think it's great that the offense coordinator is again, the quarterback coach, just because they talk a bunch. And we always sit there and say, tell us what you feel good about. And if you don't, it's out. There's no reason to sit there and try to sit there and say, oh, man, that's a good play. But if you don't feel good about it, we'll take it out. And let's go with what you feel good with.
Start opening up and maybe being a little bit more aggressive with him? Or is it you say, hey, let's just...
No, I think you just got to keep, building on, what he continue to do, does well, plus with everyone else, what they continue to do well. And we'll add a little bit more as the weeks go on. But it also impart on what the defenses give you, So we kind of look at that whole part of it, and then we'll sit there and add or subtract, as the weeks go on.
You'd like to see a little bit more of the running game. It just seems like, I know the defenses you've been facing, and that certainly, changes what you're able to do. But sometimes you think it's an offensive line problem when you can't quite get a running game going, but the offensive line is doing well when it comes to passing. So I'm just wondering what you're seeing and put your finger on.
I think that's hard to kind of judge right now because in every one of our games we haven't been that far ahead or we've been behind, so I don't think you can establish. It's not a true measure on us establishing the run game just with you're 21 mil right off the bat, so how much can you sit there and try to sit there and run the clock and get back into the game? So you kind of we got away from it, had to get away from it a little bit in this past game. And even when Bowling Green, when they get up 2 scores, you kind of got to get away from it. So I don't think there's a true measure of, our run game. But when we do sit there and we run the football, it's not getting stuffed, all the time. And that's why I sit there and judge our run game based off of plays that we're running well. And I think if we sit there and not get behind, so far, I think we can judge it a little bit better.
What about Trayon Durham specifically? It just seems like he's getting, when you look at the carries, we're not seeing the yards that we used to see. How much of that is the situation being behind A, and then B, also without having Dre there, is just that other component to keep people?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think a lot of it, though, has to depend on the score and us running the football. We would love to run him a little bit more. You just can't, just because of, in these last couple of weeks we've been, down a couple scores, and you need to sit there and move the ball. But this kind of goes back to Eldon's question of what you don't see that he's doing well, that a lot of people just worry about the touches. I think he's playing great football right now. There's a lot of things that is happening with him. He's blocking well. He has a great attitude. I mean, those are the things that people don't see, that I think he is having a great season, right now. And I think it will come. It will come for him as we help him not get in bad situations. I think he's only going to continue to get better, for us, and his yards will come. Special teams played a big part in that game. And when you look at LSU, we spend a lot of time talking about their special teams because they have opened up games with their special units. And, we didn't tell anyone this, but all of his punts should have went out of bounds, But we were trying to kick the ball out of bounds but we didn't tell the cover team just because we wanted them to cover and not think the ball was going out of bounds. But our guys did a great job of covering because their returners are dangerous. I mean, they can change the course of the game. And anytime you get in scoring positions and you can put Porch on the board, it's huge for us. And we got that in Anthony, right now that's being confident with his kicks. Plus, we got a lot of guys that are covering well, So I'm pleased right now. There's a lot of things we got to continue to get better at when you break down the film and look at the film on the special teams. But very pleased because when you look at the guys that are out there, man, you got our starters out there plus with a lot of freshmen.
It's just a confidence builder for me, coming off of last year, not kicking field goals and not handling all the kicking duties, being able to knock at least two of those three down in a really big venue was just just a lot of confidence for me. It really just ensured that I can make those field goals in those types of situations because regardless of the score, even though we kicked the field goals, it was still loud. The LSU crowd still wanted me to miss it. So you just have to sit there and relax and just go back to the basics and do what you do. And so it was just a huge confidence builder for me, especially coming into MAC play in a couple weeks and these big games coming up. So I just think that really helped a lot, just getting that experience under my belt.
Break down your practice day or week with the two duties. I mean, do you switch it off day to day? Do you split it up in each practice? How do you handle that?
It just varies day to day. We have our SEALs unit, which is our punt unit, because we name our special teams after armed forces and special forces. So our SEALs unit is our punt unit, and we do that pretty much every day. We like to view it as one of the most important plays in football. So we do that a lot. And also our recon team, which is our kickoff team. It just varies day to day, really, what we do. But we do make sure that we cover it and that everyone knows where they need to be, given specific situations. And we also do field goal every day. It's something you have to do, just so it's always just there, and you can always make sure that your field goal unit is running smoothly. And I mean, we work on special teams every day. I like how much Coach Haynes stresses special teams because it is an important part, and it's an important phase of football. So I really think that we work on it all the time, and we do stress it a lot. And I think that's that carries over into game day, and that's why we have such good performances out of our special teams.
Does all this work make your legs stronger, or do you do something to keep it from getting fatigued?
You know, my leg doesn't really fatigue. I like it. I like handling all the kicking duties. I did it in high school, so I'm pretty used to it. And I just think it doesn't really. I don't want to say it makes it stronger, but it just kind of stays, you know, neutral. It doesn't really feel fatigued. It doesn't feel stronger, but it's where I would like my leg to be. It's not tired or anything like that. So.
You're 3 games in to doing both as a collegian, along with the kickoffs as well. How is the whole transition to doing, you know, added responsibility?
It's fine. It's going smooth. I haven't really seen any problems with it. You know, I mean, I missed that one field goal at LSU. That was on me. You know, it was just kind of a misread. But you know, I know what I did wrong, and I need to go back and look at the film, and I definitely will this week. You know, see where I messed up on, and just continue to go along with that. But the transition's been really smooth. I think it's been fine. I haven't had any problems with it, and I'm really happy where I'm at right now.
Coach, with his success, does that change any of your thought process going forward next year or two in terms of the kicking game, and how much or how little you want him involved?
Well, he'll be heavily involved. You know, we do talk about the punt is the most important play in football, and with how he can kick, he can change the field. So it goes into your whole mentality of even the offense, you know, of not taking more chances, again, with a young quarterback, and when you get in 3rd and long situations of turning the ball over, because that's a lot of times when it happens is when you're sitting there and trying to push to get a first down on 3rd and long, and you sit there and you know, have a more of a safe play and let Anthony do his thing and change the field. So that goes all into it. The better he punts, the better off we can be without taking chances on trying to get first downs in bad situations and put ourselves in bad situations. As long as he continues to make field goals and his range gets, you know, more and more, it will only help us also in those situations also too, because that's the first thing, you know, I asked Coach McMichael, and he goes to Anthony and asks him, what do you think? You know, and that's why we tried the last one, you know, that last field goal, even being down, is we think he can make those, you know, for us. You know, so I think he's going to be huge. I said this to you guys earlier. I think he is a weapon, you know, definitely that will help this football team win.
Talk a little about Penn State. Obviously, you know, talking about young guys stepping up here and being a freshman at quarterback. What have you seen so far?
You know, what's funny is we had a little glitch at the office yesterday. We had a little power outage, so I haven't watched them that much. Kind of came in this morning and started on them a little bit. But, you know, Penn State is Penn State. I don't care who the head coach is at Penn State. Penn State's going to be a physical football team. Penn State's going to establish the run. They're not, you know, Coach O'Brien is a great coach who's a great offensive mind that's not going to put his quarterback in bad situations. And when you watch them a little bit on film that I have watched, that's what they do. And they're not afraid to punt the football either. You know, don't put him in bad situations or try to force something and punt the football and play great defense. That's Penn State, and that's how Penn State has always been. They're going to be physical. They're going to play Penn State football, so we have to make sure that we show up and be as physical with them and match their intensity and emotion and passion and all those things to win.
Chris and Anthony, does having these back-to-back games, as tough as it looks like on the schedule ahead of time, having been through LSU, does that give you any kind of advantage going into Penn State in terms of the whole big venue, the big crowds, the loud, all that? Is it almost like you just did it, you can handle it? Does that help at all this week?
Yeah, it definitely helps us. I mean, during practice when we were going to LSU, before we played LSU, we had the speakers out there to deal with the crowd and the noises and stuff like that. But having been there now and actually experienced the loudness, you know, how the crowd's going to be and stuff like that, it definitely helps us, like, oh, we know what we're going into now. So it definitely helps us mentally and helps us focus and stuff like that for Penn State. So yeah, I definitely think it gives us a little bit of an edge and helps us out.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Big venues like that, especially had gone through LSU already. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Penn State's a bigger venue. Seats more. I think the stadium does, but it's at the end of the day, the field's still 100 yards. They still put on the same pads we do. So I mean, we're comfortable with it now, and we know how to prepare for it. So like Chris said, I think that gives us an edge.
I think just based on the schedule, you guys thought that you could be in this situation, but yet, you're coming off 11-3 year. Now you find yourself the following year, getting beat up a little bit. How's it for you guys just mentally, and how you kind of keep grinding type thing, coming off of last year and then struggling a little bit all of a sudden?
Well, we're always told to keep grinding. Coach tells us fight for 60 minutes. And every game we go into, we have the same mentality. If you get pushed down, get right back up, keep fighting until the clock says 0-0-0, or they tell us to go home. But I don't really think about last year at all, what happened there. But for this year, I mean, just our mental state of mind now, just right now it's kind of focused on just getting everyone together, everyone on the same page and stuff. And I think it's coming together. I mean, we saw some stuff for the LSU and our special teams especially, that we were coming together a lot more and, feeding off of each other and just getting some of the new guys in, because we do have a lot of freshmen taking role for our team this year. So getting all of them together and on the same game plan as us, having them get comfortable with the speed of the game and just thinking like real fast and stuff like that, whether to make the right play or not. But I think we're coming together a lot better in these past 3 games, so I think it's looking good for us right now.
I think we just have a strong mentality. We really do have to, and I think we have put last year behind us. It's a new year, it's a new team, and little bit of a rocky start, obviously, but we stay strong. We have a strong mentality. We're a strong mental football team, and pretty much what Chris said. We know that we have to fight. We got to keep grinding regardless of what happens. Just take it week by week, keep preparing, and just keep working to get where we want to be. And I think, I know we will get there. We will get there as a football team, and we will come together, and we will be a good football team this year.
Coach Haynes, last thing if I could, you guys tried to let Dre go to see if he could play. He just really got in that one time. You could tell, the cameras were on him, and you could tell on the sideline, but he wasn't able to do it. Will that change at all how you're going to try to prepare for this week in terms of, do you just not want to, push it, or if it's an injury that continues to be nagging, or you're going to kind of do that, day to day, look where you're at Wednesday, look where you're at Thursday with him?
I think you do the later. Look where he is, see how he feels, and kind of try to make a judgment. I don't know, by Thursday. Maybe you sit there and do it a little bit earlier. I would probably say right now he's probably doubtful, for this weekend, unless he comes in and says, hey, and that's really how it was last weekend. I want to go. I want to try it. I want to play. So if he does that, you still got to kind of make a judgment call on what's best for the team. So we'll see, but by Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll probably, make a definite, decision on him. But it was good to see him, get out there and play.
Does it seem like it's getting any better at all? I mean, or is it just, if you try to get him out there and then he can't go, does that send him back at all?
I don't think it's any worse than what it was, for sure. It's just one of those things that's, it's a nagging ankle on a sprinter, so he's a great athlete that has to be able to run. And when he can't, it's tough on him, so it has nothing to do with toughness. It has nothing to do with not wanting to and looking to the future, all those things that everyone has said. It's just one of those things that is he's a good athlete that needs to run, and he can't right now. So he's not feeling comfortable at being out there. So, in his state of mind, I don't want to hurt the team. I want to help the team, and he feels right now that him being out there hurts the team.
That's all we have time for this section. I have a few more individual questions as we get ready for the radio show here at noon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.